Good morning. Earlier today, Boston City Council member Tanya Fernandez Anderson was arrested on federal public corruption charges. These 6 felony charges stem from an alleged kickback scheme that she orchestrated to obtain several $1,000s in taxpayer money in exchange for a bribe she paid to a staffer she gave her a very large bonus. The indictment charges Ms. Fernandez Anderson with 5 counts of wire fraud in violation of Title 18, United States Code 1343, and 1 count of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds, violation of Title 18, United States Code 666. According to the indictment that was returned by a federal grand jury earlier this week, Ms. Fernandez Anderson was facing financial difficulty in 2023. Part of that financial difficulty stemmed from a sanction that was imposed by the State Ethics Commission of $5,000 for Ms. Fernandez Anderson hiring immediate family members in her Boston City Council office. And in around that same time in 2023, Ms. Fernandez Anderson, the grand jury alleges, patched this scheme to funnel bonus payments, taxpayer money into her own pocket in the tune of approximately $7,000. Specifically, despite the fact that she was under investigation by the State Ethics Commission, Ms. Fernandez Anderson hired another family member on her staff at Boston City Hall to handle constituent services. That staff member was related to her, but Ms. Fernandez Anderson falsely represented to City Hall that there was no familial relationship. That is staff member A in the indictment. Ms. Fernandez Anderson then went on to tell that staff member A that she would give that person a $13,000 bonus. That bonus of $13,000 was more than twice as much as Ms. Fernandez was paying to the rest of her staff combined in bonuses. That supersized bonus came with a hitch. Ms. Fernandez Anderson told staff member A that she would need to fork over $7,000 in cash back to Ms. Fernandez Anderson. Staff member A agreed. The indictment alleges that after staff member A received the deposit of approximately $10,000 after taxes in her bank account, staff member A was directed to make cash withdrawals. And she did that in the days following the receipt of the money in her bank account. $3,000 on May 31st, 2023, $3,000 on June 5th, 2023, and $4,000 on the afternoon of Friday, June 9th, 2023. And shortly after that last cash withdrawal, Ms. Fernandez Anderson and staff member A texted each other, and they arranged for a meetup in a bathroom in City Hall. That meeting happened in the bathroom around 4 o'clock or so on that Friday. And when they met inside that bathroom, Ms. Fernandez Anderson put $7,000 in cash in her pocket, the grand jury alleges. All of that money was funded by the taxpayers of the city of Boston. When faced with financial hardship and that State Ethics Commission $5,000 sanction, Ms. Fernandez Anderson chose to violate her fiduciary duty and defraud the city of Boston, the indictment alleges, rather than find a legal means to pay off that debt. When her constituents elected Ms. Fernandez Anderson, she had a fundamental obligation to act with the utmost integrity. Public officials who line their pockets with taxpayer money erode the trust and confidence of the public in the officials who serve them. Public service is a privilege, and all of us in public service have a duty to act with integrity and fairness in all that we do. This office, for years, has been committed to rooting out public corruption and will continue to do so. We, alongside with our federal partners from the IRS and the FBI, investigate all allegations of public corruption, follow the facts and law where they lead, and we will hold people who abuse their power accountable. I'd now like to ask for Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI, Steve Kelleher, to share a few comments.
Thanks, Josh. Good morning. I'm Steve Kelleher, Assistant Special Agent in charge of FBI Boston. It's like deja vu all over again. Another Boston City Councilor is accused of embracing a culture of cashing in at the expense of the public good. Earlier this morning, the FBI arrested Tanya Fernandez Anderson at her home in Dorchester for accepting $7,000 in cash in a City Hall bathroom from a member of the staff who is also a relative. Basically, what we have here is an elected official pretending her motives were purely civic-minded. In fact, we believe she was unlawfully conspiring to enrich herself. This city councilor is accused of stealing thousands of dollars from the city through not just creative, but criminal accounting. Why and how did she do it? We believe she was facing personal financial difficulty when she decided to steal money for herself in the form of a supposed bonus she had doled out to a staff member. Well, in this Commonwealth and in this country, our elected officials work for us, not the other way around. Using public office for personal gain is a crime, plain and simple. The behavior we allege in today's indictment is a slap in the face of the hardworking taxpayers in the city of Boston, who have every right to expect that the city's coffers are in good and honest hands. Nobody is picking on Tanya Fernandez-Anderson and her inner circle. We believe this is a situation of her own making. The FBI is working hard every day to battle public corruption and the corrosive damage it does to people's faith in government. We must hold public officials to high ethical standards, and we will hold them to obeying federal law. We ask anyone with knowledge of wrongdoing by public officials to call the FBI or share information online at tips.fbi.gov. My thanks to the agents, analysts, accountants, and attorneys who have worked very hard over the last year to advance this investigation, specifically FBI Boston's Public Corruption Squad, the prosecution team here at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and our colleagues at the IRS. Their continued partnership and support are greatly appreciated. I'll turn it over to the IRS for comments.
Good morning. My name is Jonathan Wadika. I'm the acting special agent in charge for IRS Criminal Investigations Boston Field Office. I'd like to begin by thanking United States Attorney Joshua Levy for hosting this press conference today. I would also like to thank and recognize the FBI's Boston Field Office for their incredible work on this investigation. IRS Criminal Investigation is committed to identifying and investigating all financial crimes, no matter how small. This is especially true for our commitment to rooting out public corruption, which is a top priority. Today, special agents with IRS Criminal Investigation, in conjunction with special agents from the FBI, have arrested Councilor Tanya Fernandez-Anderson, a second-term Boston City Councilor for defrauding the city of Boston. Elected officials are held to a higher standard. Councilors are supposed to help their constituents and provide a voice for them. Instead, Councilor Fernandez-Anderson decided to put herself ahead of all those who voted for her when she orchestrated a kickback scheme to enrich herself using city funds. She lied to her staff and betrayed her constituents, all while being a strong advocate for increased accountability for public officials. No excuse could justify the theft of city funds for any purpose, whether legitimate or not. The councilor failed to recognize and adhere to the most basic of social expectations, not to lie or steal from others, especially those who put their trust into her to do what is right. Financial crimes are not a victimless crime. Every time funds are stolen at the federal, state, city, or local level, the victims are the citizens that inhabit these communities. The victims are the taxpayers, whose money was used for the enrichment of one instead of the greater good of all. Public funds are essential for funding social welfare programs, the education of our children, and ensuring our communities are kept safe. IRS Criminal Investigation uses our financial expertise to find allegation of financial crimes, thoroughly investigate it, and ensure that justice is preserved for all. We will continue to work hand in hand with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners to ensure that those who break the law and take advantage of others are brought to justice. Thank you.
Questions?
Thank you, Jonathan.
What is going to happen with staff member A? Is she cooperating with this investigation? Could she also be facing charges?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on other aspects of the investigation, to be honest, in the public record right now.
The staff member A is her sister, correct?
Staff member A is identified as staff member A.
How long was the investigation?
Well, I'm not going to comment on when the investigation began. Obviously, we're dealing with fairly recent events from the middle of last year, so it's something we've been working on for several months.
So the indictment was, that was released what day?
I believe the indictment was returned yesterday. Should be at the bottom of the indictment.
And how is this going to impact her, her job right now?
Yeah, that's outside the purview of the Department of Justice in terms of what happens with her job. We'll proceed with the criminal case as we do with every every other case. She'll have initial appearance today, and then we'll proceed further status conferences, discovery, and criminal case will proceed, but we're not going to comment on the job status.
Can you comment on the amount of money, $7,000? I know there was reference to it, doesn't matter how small, if you steal, collectively, when you'll be charged. But what's the impact in terms of the case going forward in terms of sentencing? And we've seen others charged with small amounts who were sentenced to 3 years in prison. So what's the impact here as it goes forward based on the amount of money?
Yeah, so the amount of money is one factor we consider whether to bring federal charges. The fact that it's a public official certainly it makes the conduct more egregious that's alleged here. And I think, as you know from being in these halls for many years, Shelley, there's sentencing guidelines that generate a recommended sentence to the court, and that's driven by a number of factors, including the amount of money, but other things, there's factors for abuse of position of trust and being a leader, that type of thing. So that will all factor into what the guidelines are and ultimately the sentence imposed by a federal judge.
Do you have any video evidence of the kickback, the alleged kickback at this point? I know there's cameras in City Hall. You mentioned about a bathroom. Can you be any more specific about where, what happened in there?
I can't be any more specific right now about the evidence that we have.
So there was a, talk circulated that there was a search at City Hall of her office.
A what circular?
The search of the counselor's office at City Hall.
Yeah, I can't comment on whether we did a search or not.
These allegations seem eerily similar to the type of bonus and kickback seen in the Correa case. How concerned are you about this behavior being endemic in the Commonwealth?
I guess I would answer that by saying, when we get tips or information about misconduct, whether it's in public corruption or other spaces, we pursue it, we investigate it. I have no information that's endemic, but I echo Assistant Special Agent Charge Keller comments that we want to receive information from the public if they have other information that's kind of conduct, but I would not characterize anything as endemic at this point.
Are you seeking more information about the city councilor? Is this an ongoing investigation?
This is an ongoing investigation, and will continue. This is, as you all know, sometimes cases involve superseding indictments if there's reason to bring additional charges.
Councilor Fernandez Anderson was involved in like neighborhood rehabilitation groups and community groups, and I'm wondering if part of the investigation is looking into other financial transactions within those groups.
So I'm not going to comment on what other parts of the investigation we're working on. We obviously investigated this to a point where we felt very comfortable presenting to a grand jury, and that we had this established beyond a reasonable doubt, and that's why the charges have been filed. As to what else we're working on, I'm not going to comment on right now.
The indictment mentions that she and her staff members signed non-disclosure agreements. Is that common practice in City Hall?
We included that in the indictment because it stuck out to us as unusual and not consistent with the transparency that the public expects from government officials. So that's what I'll say about that.
Did the ethics investigation after the local member was hired, did that spark this investigation?
I'm not going to comment on how we get going on investigations. We get information from a variety of sources at our office, at the FBI, at IRS, and I'm not going to get into what sparked our investigation here.
Just a couple more?
Do you have any details on the actual arrest, John? When she was picked up this morning, what time she was arrested? Did she say anything? You saw the video, looked like she walked out by herself from the front door.
I'm going to let Assistant Special Agent Charge Keller answer the question.
She was taken into custody shortly after 6 o'clock this morning. She has not made any statements. She hasn't returned. We haven't asked her any questions.
She walked out the front door by herself?
Yeah, she was called out, by the agents outside. We surrounded the residence and placed a call to her and asked her to come outside, and she did. She was taken into custody.
Was she given any special accommodation because she's a city councilor?
Absolutely not.
Can you talk about the blatantness or boldness of this bathroom exchange? Like to do that in a city hall bathroom? Can you just talk about that anecdotally? Seems a little bold.
I highlighted it in my remarks because, as alleged, not only was these taxpayers' funds being stolen, but it was happening right in the building where she works. So from my personal opinion, I think it adds to the egregiousness of this comment.
Looking at the exhibit with the email.
What's your message today to others, public officials that think they can skirt your office, the FBI, and do this sort of activity?
I think the vast majority of people who serve the public do it with honor every day. I don't want the charge against one person to be assumed to be a statement about other public officials. That being said, I think this case demonstrates that no matter the amount of money at issue, if you violate your oath and your duties as a public official, we will investigate, and where appropriate, we will bring charges. So, like in every case we do, we seek both specific deterrence and general deterrence. We want the message to go out that we are working every day in the public corruption space to make sure public officials are following the law.
With regard to the email exhibit, if in fact it is proven that it was a lie, that staff member A is in fact related to her, is that a lie that could have been prosecuted at the federal level because it's an official record?
Yeah, I'll answer it. I'll answer it this way. When we charge under 1001, 18 U.S.C. 1001, those are statements to a federal official. Whether or not there's some legal theory on this, not prepped for that, give you a legal treatise on that, but normally 1001 charges are based on statements of federal officials. This is a statement to a city official.
Has anyone else been charged in this case?
No one else has been charged in this case.
No one else is being investigated on this, or other staff members being considered?
So the question is, has anyone else been charged? And the answer is no. The investigation is continuing. So the answer to your question is we're investigating other issues around this conduct and other leads.
One more question. Investigating city officials.
Not going to comment on this.
And the big comment, was that pertaining to Chuck Turner, other officers?
Well, I believe the person who asked the question referred to the Fall River man.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you, folks.
Yeah.
I think they took someone's phone here. Someone took their phone up there? Promise we didn't
I know, we're right. Yep. So I'm gonna try and cut a package of possible. We'll see.
Hey, we're looking shot. I'll get him now. Okay, thank you.
Jump rope dance.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You end up at the buffet. Get the one shot.
To the buffet at
Let me know what they have.
Remember that a long time ago? I'm sure it was worth it though. Oh, dude, like, well, it was like everybody's like debating, like it was crazy expensive, and then you go up and you pile your plate super high. You're like, you know what? We're gonna pay for it. Yeah, you're like, screw it. I'm gonna make it worth my while, you know.
Yeah, I mean, or actually, there won't be any.